Well, hello there, humans, hippies, earthlings, whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, and whoever you're lucky enough to be doing it to. I'm doing it with you today. I'm having a little ramble about the joint in the T150. One of my very, very first heavy tank monsters. It doesn't look very big and nasty, does it? But it is. And if you've seen the KV1 or the T150 style of tank in real life, you know, these things were bloody massive. They were huge, big, aggressive things. Today is not a game where I'm going to say, oh, Bushka went really well here. This is what I did. This is why it worked. Today's where it didn't work. Where things didn't work. And I've got two particular games for you. One of them is a T150 and one of them is in a KV4. Both are losses, just in case you were wondering. That's why they didn't work. But it's more the manner in which the game was lost. And it's something that really harkens back for me as to why I love very, very fast tanks, but why big, big, ugly tanks like this have become more effective in the current meta. The first mistake I've made here is I'm playing Supremacy in a T150. And that's going to become pretty bloody evident in no short order. Because one of the things that is high on the list of valuable assets this tank has is not mobility. And I can't stress enough, if you watch the stream today, you would have seen Snake Eyes and I running around. I was in the KV4 a few times, and one of the worst things you can do in these tanks is play in a platoon. Like the Claw and I do pretty well all through this, but we play in a platoon with a light tank and a heavy tank. And it's two tanks that are just wildly different in their makeup. And I went back and looked at the videos, and there was about 5 or 6 games we had in a row, the Claw and I, where we did about 4,000 damage combined, and we won one of them. And there was a big reason for that. And it was because the damage we were doing was pretty much independent of each other. Now, the Claw came in on this one, and I called him in. It's not his fault. It's my fault. And while we were mucking around in here, capping C and clearing house, everyone died on the other side. And then we had this big issue where we're going to lose on a cap. I've got to get in B, and they just sniped me from B. So there's two huge errors here, and neither of them are particularly about the way I've played. It's tactical errors. One is the tank selection. I could have probably made it on my own in here, possibly, may well not have. But more importantly, you need to really pick the right tanks. I am getting hammered here. I've got no choice. I've got to go in here because the rest of the team's been wrecked on the flank. I've got to try and cap, and it's just easy money. It's not like the Reds are doing anything extra special. It is just literally everyone else died, and I have to get in this cap, and there is no choice, and I've got a massive, big, ugly gun, and that's all there is to it. So, easy lesson for the day. If you are platooning, try and pick tanks that complement each other. A T150 and a French light tank, the 12T, are so not the tanks to be playing together. They are not tanks that work together at all. You may win some, you may both do great damage, but you're generally not going to be doing it in the right manner. This is a really big, ugly Russian heavy who does very, very well in corridor fighting, and that's a very, very small, light French tank that does very, very well in the open and scouting and running around. So that's lesson number one. And these are big picture things, because I find so much of the game is decided when you press battle. By the time you press battle, quite often half the game is already done, because if you're picking a tough tank already, then and then you pick bad platoon selection, or you choose Supremacy while you're running around in the KV4 and a T150, you're already behind the 8 ball. What you want in these kind of tanks is corridor fights, which is what we get. My big issue here is that I push the top. Now, normally in a KV4, I'm exceptionally aggressive because, as you're going to see throughout the course of this game, it is a very, very effective tank at bouncing shots. But I stagnate here. Now I'm angled up, I'm doing all the right things, I'm expecting shots to come in from the right. I'm still waiting for the tanks that are not counted to turn up here on my left, and I'm poking out and seeing, and this Comet just decides to go. Now that really should have been me. He's far too aggressive, and this IS-6 is there. I can't just mosey across the side. The Claw is on my right in the IS-5, and he's about to get flanked pretty hard. We're already down a tank. Yeah, things look pretty grim. And we've stagnated. I've stagnated. I've really got stuck here. That Comet is up against a Borsig. He's going to get destroyed. And not only that, he's also got to worry about this IS-6 here. And I can quite comfortably beat this IS-6 to a pulp, side scraping here. But the Comet's not going to stay alive. And the IS-6 doesn't really have to do anything apart from not die. And that'll do it. That'll more or less keep him in the game. And you can see the Claw's been isolated. The tanks around him have both died. He's stuck dealing with multiple targets at once. I can't really get across anywhere. As soon as I turn here, there are going to be massive amounts of incoming fire for me from both the Borsig and the IS-6. There we go. We get the cleanup on aisle 5. There's our Borsig. The Claw is still valiantly holding off at the back. He's got two blokes there who aren't doing anything particularly well. Now, the rest of the team was pretty crap. There's no doubt about that. They were very poor. But what if I had just pushed across with that Comet? Then the Claw could have come across with me. Those guys at the back could have been dead, but there's probably going to be 2 guys dead over here. We might have lost the Comet as well, but me and Brown Claw would still be alive, and there'd be 3 on 3 at the very least. I was far too timid. And this isn't something that I'm usually having a problem with when I'm running a heavy tank. But you have to be aggressive. If you have big armor profiles, like in a Mouse or an E100 or a KV4, and unless maybe in an E100's case, you can sometimes snipe in an E100 because it's got that big alpha damage, and it does do very well as a 150mm pseudo sniper tank. In those situations, the best thing you can do is be the guy pushing forward and having the enemy team shoot at you, because as you've seen, I've been able to bounce a bunch of shots. I've been able to very, very successfully side scrape and move about and do whatever I want to do. And I'm going to do nearly 3k damage, which is fine. It's nothing special, but it is what it is. And yet, we're going to lose by a couple of tanks, which is a bit of a bargain. And I just don't have the hit points left. I start side scraping again, but you know, these are 2 fairly healthy tanks. The Comet particularly has way too many hit points for me to deal with, and I can't angle to everyone in this kind of area here, so I'm dead. Now, a lesser man, sorry, I couldn't resist it. The team was bad, but my passive play made sure we lost. If I hadn't have been passive there, we were every chance of being a winner. So we've seen 2 games so far. One was really not making use of an exceptionally strong heavy tank, and the other one was very, very poor platoon makeup and, you know, really tactically leaving ourselves in a hole. So what do? Well, we learn from that. Now, this is a tier 8 game, and I've always said that the KV4's best method is straight and direct. Direct play is what wins you games in this tank. And you're going to see, even though it is not the fastest tank, the Claw and I completely change up and go very, very strong side. He's going to go right down the bottom to Snake Eyes' favourite spot. Maxi always used to rush here in his IS-7 and get down underneath the cap area in the middle. And I'm going to push right on through. There will be no stopping us here. We will not cease until the fight is done. Now, they have 2 TDs. One of them in particular is a worry, the Borsig. They have some big heavy tanks. They've got a KV4, a T32. He's over there as well. There's the Tiger. We're not stopping. We're going to take the hit, and we're moved all the way up to grab control of the map. Now, Why is this important? And this is one of the best things about the KV4. It really is. It's a zone of denial. Right now, I am here in a tank. I am begging them to come and shoot me. It means that all these other tanks on my team do not have to worry about getting hit. And it also makes the team aggressive. I've been really aggressive there. Look at our defender. He's like, I'm in. I'm going as well. Look at this. We're all pushing. And where we were passive before, where we were not using our hit points, we have now just bounced 2 shots. So that's 2 tanks have shot at us that are not shooting at our teammates. And we have the best armor profile really in this game. There we go again. We've got 2 hits against us. That's all well and good. But we've pushed them back. We've got their whole team just pinioned in this area here. The Tiger 2 tries to get out. The IS-3 defender who's pushed up there and been aggressive. I'm trying to defend him as well. And I take a shot, then he gets cleared out by our SU-152. This is over. And it doesn't matter how many hit points I finish with. It doesn't matter the fact that I'm not going to do huge damage. It was that aggressive move, that move straight down the middle of the map, that dragged along all these other heavy tanks behind me, that is really going to win it for us. Their KV4 is in a horrible position. Their Borsig is in a horrible position. Their T-32 is in a horrible position. And they're just getting torn apart. Such a difference. Such a difference when you take a tank that's got one of the best armor profiles around and you put it in a situation where it can be successful. That's it, boys and girls. That's all there is to it. Bit of an abject lesson by showing you a couple of crap moves by myself and how just being aggressive can quite often pay huge dividends. I'm not saying you should go and do this in a Type 62 Dragon. I am, however, saying that in a KV4, you can do a lot worse than letting them shoot right at you. I'm Bushka on Blitz. Look after yourselves. Stay safe on the battlefield. Be nice to each other. And until next time, bye for now.